I'm heading home tomorrow. It's been a long week, and I don't even really know how to reflect on this week. I've never seen so much suffering in a place like Billings, Montana. Never. I mean, I've seen it in places like New York City and St. Louis and Chicago, but I never would have thought I'd seen something like that in Billings. It's a much smaller town than Kansas City, and I believe it's a worse problem than they have in Kansas City. Most of the people that I've spoken to that are on the streets, they're from here. And the last time I talked about this on a video, people said, well, quit opening the border and quit, just such terrible nonsense. But the reality is, I haven't met a single person from another country yet. They're all Americans, all of them. And honestly, I've only met 2 or 3 people that weren't actually from this area. And a lot of times people say, well, we'll close the borders, but those are native Indians. They're not Mexicans. They were here before you were, believe it or not. So, as I reflect on that, I have many things. I'm very disappointed in the Christian element more than most things. Because the Christian element here is really wasted space and time. They're useless. They're useless. And then the Christian element that I see in the comments, I'd say most of them are great comments, but to see people, profess Christians, denounce suffering in such a way that they deserve it or that somehow they put themselves in this situation, I know drugs take over people. And I know people made a lot of bad decisions. But the fact of the matter is you and I are only one check or only one decision away from being in a very, very similar situation. And it's interesting when you talk to some of these guys that some of them were working in banks a few years ago. Many of them own their own homes, own their own cars. And somehow they found themselves here. And I make this video because if Jesus was in Billings, would he shut off the water and tell them to get lost? Would he tell them to get out, quit messing up our town? Or would he spend all his time with them, loving on them and serving them and providing miracles for them? And then they would know God and their lives would change. Because a lot of times these things that these people are in, they need Jesus bad. And I had a man tell me that he used to be a Christian, but not anymore after he's seen how Christians in Billings behave. And I get it. I totally get it. I understand what he's saying. He said he lost his faith. How can you believe in a God that produces that kind of product in people? I think that's why Jesus is so upset about this particular situation and these situations. I think that's why he literally said that those who don't take care of the least of these in Matthew 25, they go to hell. Sorry, it's his words, not mine. And I'm not preaching salvation through works. I'm preaching that if your relationship with Jesus Christ is real and the Spirit lies within, well, then you're going to desire to help the least of these. And if you don't, I think you have to question whether the Spirit was within. And if you question that, you have to question whether your relationship with Jesus is real. If you think that you threw a few bucks in the plate and raised your hand during your favorite song and then went home, but somehow that makes you a Christian, Satan is lying in your ear and convincing you that you're heading to the right place, but you're heading to hell. The only thing that you can change is Jesus Christ. Focusing on the kingdom of heaven and less on your own kingdom. It's the only thing you can change.